I remember reading a few years ago, David Whyte, who's a poet and author, wrote a beautiful article called The 10 Questions That Have No Right to Go Away. And the very first question was, do you know how to have real conversation? People go from meeting to meeting, the agendas are totally jammed, packed, there's no hope of any human interaction. We have these drive-by conversations. And so we are living in this space where we're actually missing a lot of authentic human connection. My name is Amanda Fenton, participatory process designer and host of Conversations That Matter, and this is Design to Speak. So I love that we are here in the 21st century and we have the most amazing technological advances, and yet the process that I go to is one of our most ancient. It's circle. So when we first discovered that we could capture the spark of fire, it changed who we were as a human species. We began to gather together for the first time. We crept out of the darkness and came together in a circle around the fire. And we took the evolutionary leap of actually developing our language. And so this practice of meeting together in the circle is so ancient, and it's practically in our DNA. So most of my work in creating the space for real conversation comes from bringing these ancient practices back into our modern world, kind of reclaiming the power of human conversation. The first place is to start with yourself. Taking a little bit of time to check in with yourself. How am I doing today? Am I feeling scattered? Am I bringing my presence and my good listening into whatever interaction I'm going into? Can I set aside my distractions and really give my full attention to the subject at hand, the people that are present? So really that first practice of what we call hosting yourself, checking in with yourself, having good healthy ways of doing that. And another really good practice is have a good question. How are you doing today is a fairly kind of surface level question. You're not going to really dive into the deeper heart of something. If you ask a question like, what originally drew you to get into design? That is going to invite forward a much different conversation, a different kind of story. And the third suggestion I might offer anyone is to use a talking piece. And using a talking piece has this effort of just slowing things down enough to listen from a deeper place, to think about what it is that I want to contribute, that brings a quality that we often don't experience in many of our other conversations. The one place that designers might fail in designing space for real conversation and connection is perhaps being attached to the outcome. So if you are engaging with people and asking some questions and you kind of secretly know the answer, and that you're just hoping that people will arrive at that themselves. So that is not an authentic invitation to conversation, and people will sense that. Conversation is something we know how to do. We've been doing this ever since we developed language. So it's not about inventing something new. We have a chance to reclaim it, bring it forward into our 21st century lives. Notice where can you bring a better level of listening, and just experiment and see what happens when you tap into what other people care about and what ripples that might spread out for the world.